This is the worst time in years to be looking for a job in Singapore. I took a gap year to cycle around Southeast Asia and backpack around Central Asia. I broke my ankle in Kyrgyzstan and I'm finally almost ready to start looking for a job again. I thought after 6 years in tech, I'll be able to walk into a decent mid-level role. But now, I'm not so sure.
People have adapted to past technological changes, but I'll say again, everyone I've talked to has said this technological change looks different. It looks faster. It looks harder to adapt to. It's broader. The pace of progress keeps catching people off guard.
In the first quarter of 2026, Singapore recorded 3,830 retrenchments, the highest quarterly figure over 2 years. The unemployment rate still sits around 2 to 3%, the same as it has been for years. So, are we in an AI apocalyptic situation? Or is this a mass layoff wave slightly assisted by AI? The work didn't disappear. The bottleneck moved. On 15 July, GovTech retrenched 93 officers. Phase 1 of a 2-year restructuring program. The forum calls it the Iron Rice Bowl is gone. According to SNEF survey, 58% plan to freeze headcount, but the percentage planning to reduce headcounts went from 9% in 2024 to 8% in 2025. If you are in your 50s, the retrenchment rate is 3.1 per thousand, and it reduces to 0.8 if you are under 30s. I'm very close to my 40s. It definitely does add to my anxiety.
The deliverables doubled, but I couldn't because everything was moving at such a fast pace, betrayed by the company. But of course, logically speaking, I understand the business side of things.
Feeling betrayed, yet she understands the rationale. And I think we all understand it. AI is going to change our job, and a company has to make money. In this society, we have to justify our existence. I do hope that the future will look more like Jarvis.
Unfortunately, the device that's keeping you alive is also killing you.
The jobs will be AI-assisted, sufficient dignified jobs for people. Tech moves at a very fast speed. Throughout multiple revolutions, we have seen how jobs are being replaced by machines. But this is the first time in history that our machines are getting so close to being human. It's tempting to attribute most of the layoffs to AI. After all, it's what's in everyone's mind. I use AI every day. Even parts of this video is built with AI. But is AI really coming for all white-collar jobs that require higher education? MOM tried to measure AI-related layoff in April. They found that 6.2% reported AI-related reduction, 18.9% redesigned their jobs, and there are 13.9% that created new AI-related roles. And for GovTech, they said that the restructuring was not AI-driven. If AI was the hidden reason for the retrenchment, you should be able to see a change in the productivity. Overall labor productivity rose by 2.9%. It looks more like a business as usual increment rather than AI is coming to take over your job kind of number. Even the people initially selling the apocalypse is starting to walk slightly back. Anthropic CEO, his framing now is that if you automate 90% of a job, everyone just does the remaining 10. In reality, it means that your boss wants you to deliver more in a shorter period of time. The OECD also went to look for AI-related productivity gain. Their conclusion is that there's a difficulty of detecting clear signs of AI-driven economy-wide productivity gains, and any signal so far is far from conclusive. Productivity is still running as per normal, not spiking. But economists expect the payoff to take the J-curve shape.
And that's back to that J-curve idea. It just, everything takes longer than the technologists think, but it is happening. It is coming. And by 2030, I don't think there'll be any question that this is transformative of the economy. But these things happen step by step.
So, the apocalypse isn't visible in the number yet. We might just be in the long flat stretch. If we go back to December 2025, there's still 1.11 job vacancies for every unemployed person, and employment has grown straight for 18 quarters. Two things can be true at once: a high retrenchment level and a shortage of labor. Right now, we are still saying that there is no broad-based displacement of PMET workers. The hiring patterns are becoming more differentiated. Transitions are taking longer for some groups. The top reasons for unfilled job is the lack of necessary skills and experience. We are in an employer market. For a lot of job posting, you will quickly see 100 over applicants within a day. And the employers are just less likely to hire for potential compared to years before. The economy is swapping jobs faster than people can upskill. And even if they do, they might still lack the necessary job experience. Often, the first door to shut is the entry-level one. And when that happens enough, the bridge from junior level to senior level essentially collapses. There's less of the traditional career ladder that we grew up expecting. This doesn't feel like a normal downturn. It's a structural shift. But it being a shift doesn't mean that we are not drowning. The AI apocalypse probably just arriving late. In May, our government published the Economic Strategy Review. AI and automation will create new opportunities, but they will also allow firms to produce more with fewer workers. The same level of growth will no longer generate the same number of jobs, holding back the deployment of AI and automation to preserve existing jobs will erode our competitiveness.
Harnessed well, AI will be a strategic advantage for Singapore. It can help us overcome our structural constraints, our limited natural resources, rapidly aging population, and tight labor market.
We have to brace ourselves for a future that growth and jobs will start to decouple. But at the same time, I think AI, just like the internet, will empower a lot of people to try out entrepreneurship or a side hustle. No nation can afford to hold back AI and automation to preserve existing jobs. We have to adapt as a nation. There will definitely be real losses. We may grieve parts of the jobs that we genuinely loved. Software engineering is a good example. AI has changed the day-to-day craft of writing code, but software engineers are still needed. The role evolved, and the skills around it evolved too. So here's my reframe. This isn't the worst job market in years. It's the first job market where growth stopped producing the same kind of jobs. We might start to see the job market becoming worse as AI gets better and better. We have to reimagine how AI will be integrated to our workplace with a human-centric approach. But at the same time, we can't afford to bloat out the headcount for the sake of having more jobs. At the task level, AI is proven. Controlled studies showed real gains, 14 to 40%. A job is not just a single task. Some companies have cut their staff and then rehired. So here is why I think AI is not going to replace human work at a massive scale yet. At least not immediately. The work didn't disappear. The bottleneck moved. And it moved to two places. The first is accountability. People keep saying that AI still needs human taste, that you need a person to judge whether the output is any good. And what I think it really means in terms of an organization is that someone still needs to sign off the AI output. Taste is just a flattering word for that. The real bottleneck is not, can the model do the task? How far up the organization can you push the validation work? Wherever it sits, that will be the particular ceiling for that particular workflow. And if you let AI auto-approve that workflow, why are you even needed in that workflow in the first place? When a company say they are restructuring around AI, I think it's the reorganization around the approval chain of AI. Who sign off on what and at what level? The headcount change is a downstream of that. Let's say we are able to solve and scale a human accountability problem. There's still one more problem in the equation: maintenance. Every one of those workflows have to be kept alive. A prompt that worked in March might break in July just because of third-party changes. A process that integrates with one system might need to now integrate with 4 other systems. Yes, AI can do more and more of that patching itself, but someone still has to own the system when it fails. You can't just say the model did it. And it still goes back to the accountability problem. This is a very different bottleneck from generating the work itself. If ever we progress to a stage when nobody has to own the job at all, I think society will be in a bigger problem than mass unemployment. Maybe I'm being optimistic here, but ultimately, mass unemployment will cause fewer and fewer people to be able to afford what companies are selling. Hopefully, we can together reach a point in which AI will assist in the jobs so that people can move up the value chain. There will still be cases where people have to switch jobs entirely. That's way smaller than an apocalypse. And this is the Jarvis that I envision. Does any company actually show what it looks like? IKEA's chatbot Billy took on about 47% of customer inquiries. And instead of cutting the call center, IKEA reskilled 8,500 of those staff into remote interior design advisor. Our government is preparing for this future.
We may not be able to protect every job, but we will protect every worker.
So, did I come back at the worst possible time? Short term, honestly, yes. This is the roughest re-entry in years. Long term, it's just hard to predict how much AI growth there will be and what are the constraints that create the gap that human could fit into. The ESR recommendation for Singapore is to capture more value from orchestrating flows, governing trusted flows even when the trade itself doesn't pass through here. Basically, move up the value chain and become the regional leader. It's hard to imagine what kind of job will be left when AI starts getting better and better. We just have to keep upskilling with AI and not against it. We definitely have to start planning our finances to diversify our income sources so that we are not just depending on a single income stream. The old promise was study hard, work hard, and you'll be secure. This is no longer the case in the era of AI. Even our government say it plainly. They will not hold back AI to preserve any existing jobs.